Welcome to episode 32 of this Let's Play series of Dwarf Fortress, the Steam version or the premium version of the game. A fantastic version. I'm so impressed with it. Having so much fun with this series as well. Not even close to wanting to wind it up. And usually by around about sort of like turn episode 12 or 13 of a series, I'm sort of looking for ways to sort of finish it off. But I've been having a lot of fun with this one. Anyway, there's still so much to go through, guys. So I apologise if I'm sort of dragging my heels for this a bit. We're going to be looking at the hospital, and then we're going to be building the things that the hospital requires. We've been doing some of them like thread and things like this, but we haven't been doing all of them. So let's just have a bit of a look. So if we go to our zones and then click on the hospital zone and then have a look at the water source. I'm pretty sure that's automatically a source of water. I think people would automatically, I don't think we have to allocate that as a water source. It's just thinking. Since we'll drink at a water source zone or gather water using buckets for various tasks. Yeah, this is useful if you don't have a functioning well. We do have a functioning well, it's in the hospital. So that's exactly where we want the well. Right, so anyway, these things in through here. If we go across into this button through here, so set the details for the assigned location, what we'll see is we've got thread, we've got the 5 thread, and we've got cloth. We've got a cloth industry. Now splints and crutches, we don't have enough of those. So we need to ramp them up, and we will go through particularly splints a lot when people start to break bones, particularly when they get into fights. We don't have any powder for casts, and we have to now get that, and we do have gypsum. We saw that a couple of episodes ago. I was surprised to see it there, which is great. We've got the 2 buckets required, and we don't have any soap. So this episode we're going to be focusing on powder. It's weird. This is a real crossover between the metal production and these other sorts of other industries. I was thinking, should I start with the metal production and then come back into these, or start with these and then go the other way? These are critical. The metal production is a nice to have. We will do that one afterwards, but there's a bit of a crossover, and then we'll go down and find the magma layers and build a metal industry, a real metal industry down there. I just wanted to show you the process of getting these. All right, let's just get into it, I guess. So we'll just, these splints and crutches are really, really easy. So we'll just go down to F3, which is where my workshop layer is. And so all I'll just do is go into the carpenter's workshop. We'll just go to work orders, add in a work order for splints. So these are made out of wooden splint. And I'll make, say, 5 of them at a time, I guess. 5. And what I'll then do is I'll just have it so that the work order is then designated when the amount of splints is less than 5. So I'll just make it so that make 5 when it's less than 5. So that way we're always going to have between 10 and 5 basically, so floating in around there. So that will then do that one. We'll just right click, go back into here again, work orders, and then we can just go to the next one as well. So we're just going to add in crutches. So this is all just done through here, make wooden crutch. Again, I'll just change the number to 5 and do the same deal in through here. So when the amount of crutches is less than 5. Now, for safety, what I can do is say also, like, you know, if I did want to go down into these different areas, I could actually then just go back in and change this one. So when the amount of logs is greater than 10, for example, or greater than 5. So that's just a way that it won't then keep on triggering it unless there is actually the logs available to do the order. And same with the crutches. I might as well just get in the habit of doing these sorts of, just so that they don't keep on beeping at me if they do run out of stuff. It's greater than 5. Okay, there we go. So if the amount of crutches is less than 5 and the amount of logs is greater than 5, then do this task. So that's fine, and that's satisfied for the next check. And so then that's that done. That's simple. Now for the hard bit. We now have a fairly complex string of different things to do, and I'm going to go down a couple of layers. Like most of what we do right now is going to need to use gypsum, which is actually in through here. Logs, which are in through this side as well, plus fat, which is up in the kitchens, or tallow. Actually, I think the tallow is being stored away, but we're just not using it, so that'll be up here somewhere. I'm not exactly sure where. And so I might as well come down and start to build another workshop layer down in here. As I say, there's a lot to go through here. There's an awful lot, so I'll just dig out the areas and then I can come through and talk about them. Alright, so I'm just going to go and open up this little area through here, and this will be where we do our workshops. I'll just wait for this to be dug out and then we can sort of start to go through the process. So just to recap, I've got like now a shared staircase. I've sort of now dug through the floor layer here to sort of then create like an up-down staircase. You start at the top, go through the middle one, and then down into the bottom one through there just to allocate that one. And we're nearly done into here, which is good. Now there's a few different areas. This one really is a bit of a transition group of workshops that sort of switch between. Well, they switch between making soap, which is one of the things we're going to be doing, and also then furnaces. There's a crossover between like the wood burners and things. So let's just go through the steps, and I'll try my best to explain what's going on and why we're doing everything. Now, I'm going to start with my furnaces and things back over this side, just so that I can try to keep them separate. So just go back across into my workshops. Now, the game has changed a little bit, just slightly with certain things, but not very much. If we go across to furnaces, I think this is where this one actually is, you can see that we've got a whole lot of different sorts of furnaces. Now, anything that says magma, I'll be doing that one afterwards when we actually get the magma layer, but I'm just going to get you started in case you don't have magma, or in case you don't really want to go down and delve down that deeply. You can see that we've got a magma smelter and a smelter. We've got a magma kiln and basically a kiln, and we have a magma glass furnace and a glass furnace. So we've got the magma versions of it, and look, it's so much easier using magma, but there are some gotchas, so like don't just go ahead and make them. There are some little things you've got to be aware of when you do build those, and I will go through how to do those as well. But because you've got to be careful again for the security of your fortress. If you go for magma like powered things, there are some areas where creatures that live in magma can come up into your fortress and cause an enormous amount of pain, unless you sort of really know what you're doing with that one. So I'll just give you some little, I guess, some little guidance as to what to think about when you do that one. But initially, I'll do that one in a future episode when we actually do get onto the magma layer. But for now, we don't have any of those problems because we're just going to be doing it with simple wood and charcoal, and we're going to be making soap, and we're going to be doing all sorts of different things. So anyway, let's just get started. Let's start with the soap. I think would be probably the easiest way to do this one. So soap requires a soap maker. So if we just go across, we won't start with the furnaces. We go to the soap maker's workshop down through here, and I'll place that one over through here to start with. So just so we've got that on the end. This is the final step. So we're going to go back through, and I don't think it'll actually tell us what we need through here. Now we need a bucket. It'll tell us what we need to build it, but it won't tell us what we actually require. I think I might just build it. I might actually build them one by one by one, so you can, and then I can actually open it up so you can see what's required for all the other steps, rather than just build everything in a line. I think that way you'll see why certain things are done certain ways. Let's just grab a bucket. Now, we just need to have the material, just use granite. So that's an easy one. All right, so it's now being made in through here. Right, so now we've got our soap maker. So we can now make soap. Not quite. When we go into there and we go to add new task, we can see there that to make soap from tallow, and that's actually what we focused on way back when we were doing the farming. Actually, when we did the butchering, remember how we allocated tallow to not be used for cooking? So if we just go to tallow, we've got yak tallow. We've got 18 yak tallow. That's what we reserved for this particular process. There is another way of doing this as well, by the way. These are called globs, but there is another way, which is, if I can think of which way it actually is. Now, when I haven't shown this before, but this is actually something that you can do. This is actually a comment that actually came through when I was doing the farming side. I actually pinned this particular comment. I was going to mention this. I mentioned this one when I did the tips and tricks to go back and have a look at this one. But essentially, you can actually go through into your labor menu and just go into your standing orders, not the kitchen standing orders, but you then go to automated workshops. You can then turn off automating the kitchen. And what that means is that it won't automatically then process the tallow that you actually have. So if you want to make sure that you capture that beforehand, all you do is you basically just get the kitchen to do specific things. If you have that turned on, it's easier to just leave it turned on, but you will actually end up with things running away from you at the start if you don't actually secure the tallow. So this is a really, really good tip to start off by not automating the kitchen. when you're trying to sort of reserve, like if you're butchering animals or doing anything like that, leave it off, but then just make sure that you are actually processing what you need to process manually. We sort of did that anyway. I just didn't turn this thing off. Anyway, I'm going to leave it on for now because we did actually reserve the yak tallow. May have to do more of that though. We may have to sort of like find more that we can then do. But you can see there, a lot of these things end up being like, you know, slaughtering any marked animal. We don't have to do it manually. We can basically just say slaughter that animal, and they'll just go through and do the whole butchering process. They'll then tan it automatically. They'll automatically butcher the carcasses up, cut them all up. We don't need to get in the middle of all that and specifically tell it to do different things. But the kitchen is the one area where they will make tallow into cooking materials unless you stop them from doing it. And you can only stop them from doing it in the kitchen if we go across into the kitchen in through here. It's only when it shows up for meat, fish and others that you then, like you can see there, the yak tallow has been told, do not use this for cooking. The turkey hen eggs are allowed, that's fine. So we've actually, this is going to start to turn in quite nicely for us. Actually, we're going to have a nice omelettes that will be then made for the fortress over time. But it's really not quite like it's a good little tip to turn that off at the start. When you start butchering animals, just so you can actually capture the tallow so you don't actually use it for anything other than soap. All right, so because it's very specific to the type. So anyway, that's what it requires. So it requires, if we add a new task, it says make soap from tallow, requires lye containing item. So that's the next clue. We need a lye containing item. Now what that means in layman's terms or in English or basic terms is it needs a bucket of lye. So where do you get lye from, I wonder? Lye comes from an ashery, so that's the next thing we're going to build. So we can get the tallow from the kitchen, and we can then bring the lye from the ashery, and you have to know that that's where that's from. I don't think it'll show you that when you go to the workshops. If we just go into workshops, and then you'll see that there's one just called an ashery. So if you hover over, you'll see it. So used to make lye, potash, and milk of lime. Construction requires blocks, barrel, and a bucket. So we need the blocks for this one as well. Barrel and a bucket, and so the ashery is the next thing that we need. So we'll just go and place that one over here. So we'll get gabbro blocks, we've got barrels, and we've got buckets. Now we're running out of buckets actually. I might just give the might just quickly go up the two layers into here and just add another work order. I might actually add in a bucket order, like if there's empty, because we're going to be starting to go through a lot of buckets. I mean, we're using it for milking, we're now going to be using it for this as well. So we'll just make a bucket, so make a wooden bucket, and I'll make, again, 5 of these at a time, and make it if the empty buckets are less than 5, and we've got logs is greater than 10, or really greater than 5 in this case. So we still need to go out and get more wood, I think, as well. But that's so the buckets we are running out of. We will be needing those. So that's going to be the ashery. We'll just pause until this is done. Okay, we're just getting the bits and pieces now for this one. All right, so let's make some lye. We're not quite there yet, unfortunately. And so we've got the bits and pieces that went into making this one through here. So we need to make lye. Now to make lye, we actually need ash. And so it's going to, I'll put that in there, but it should then come up with a mistake. So I'll just go and leave that one. So that one's just going to try to do it. Now it should come up with that. Yep, got an alert. That's just not the one that we wanted. Our crutches are now complete. Is it going to do it? Shouldn't have the ingredients actually. It shouldn't have the ingredients because to make lye, I thought we needed ash, and I don't think we've got any. Oh, made an excellent bucket. Yeah, okay, there it is there. So it's it comes back up and sort of says where is it? So the ranger cancels making lye. He needs ash. So now we need ash. We need ash for the ashery. And so before we can do that one, that's the next step. And so then to make ash, we then need to have a wood burner. So that's the next one on the line. It's quite complicated. So I'm just building this in reverse order. So you can see there, this is where we go back into the furnaces. the smelter, magma smelter, kiln, magma kiln, and then the glass furnaces have got the equivalent for the magma and the plane, but the wood furnace is a standalone. And so this one, when we hover over that one, you can see it makes charcoal and ash from wood here, does not require fuel. Now that's misleading in the sense that fuel for the game is different than wood. Okay, so it uses wood, so it does make it from wood, but fuel is charcoal or coke, and so charcoal and coke is used for the smelter. So if we go across into a smelter, so make metal bars from ore here, can also refine coal into usable fuel or make alloys. All tasks require fuel. So fuel again is this one of these things, and I'll talk about this when we do the smelting. That is basically charcoal or coke. So if we have a wood furnace, we can make ash, but we can also make charcoal. And so they're the two things that we sort of need to actually have running from the wood furnace. Now I'm just going to grab that one. I'm just going to place the wood furnace. I'll just place it over here, and so I'll just put it on the other side. This is sort of a bit of a hybrid between the soap making and also then going back and making the starting the metal industry. So we'll just go across, we'll go to make this one out of granite. This is just a simple one. I'll just pause again. And there we go, nearly there. So this is like going to be here for chopping up wood. There's a bit of like charcoal, and it's just going to then sort of burn it in through here. It doesn't create smoke. If it did, I would actually put it in its own room, a bit like a butcher. I always sort of thought it should make smoke, but anyway, it doesn't make smoke, which is fine. So we can now just go across. Now we can add a new task into here and say make ash in this instance. So we can just go across this one. Now it's going to make ash from wood. Let's just watch what actually happens through here. I'll make a couple of these. Yeah, look, what I'll do is I'll just get rid of that one. I'll start to now put some work orders in, just so we've got like a proper soap making area. So we'll just go back across. We're going to make ash. I'm going to make, say, 5 at a time of the ash. Again, we're going to be using a block of wood or a piece of wood every time we do this. I'll make another one as well to make charcoal, because we will actually do it. We'll do that one when we start the... Actually, no, we do need it now, actually, to be honest. So I'm going to go and add in the charcoal as well, because that will be for making the plaster. So we do need... Actually, no, I will do it when we do the plaster. That way I can at least go through what was related. Sorry, I shouldn't have even mentioned all of that, because it's going to make life a bit easier when the amount of ash available is less than 5. So we'll just make it 5. Oops, clicked on the wrong thing. Is less than 5. Okay, and the logs is greater than 5. All right, so that's where we're going to get that one from. So that's satisfied for the next check. So that will then start to make ash. So that'll be the start of that process. Let's just let that actually happen. There we are, he's in there making the ash. It'll happen fairly quickly. There we go. So we've now got a bar of ash. Okay, so this goes into a bar stockpile. Most of what we're doing right now is stored in a bar stockpile, except for the lye. Okay, so the lye doesn't get stored there. So I can actually then just go and create, like this one does require, essentially, so it doesn't need a very big area for this one. So I'm just going to go and create like a small area through here and just go and add in a stockpile. Just in through this side. I can make it bigger again afterwards if I wanted to, but I'll just accept that one. This is going to be for bars. So we go across into bars and blocks. And we just go to custom. Now we don't want blocks of anything, so I'm just going to go. I'll just start with none, and then we just go bars of other materials. And what I want here is just ash. In this particular instance, is the only one that we actually want in here. Now this, so I'll leave the ash in through there. Anyway, that will end up. At the moment, we've got bars going everywhere, but they hopefully will start to then sort of place them into here. And they will just go into bins, so we can end up with a fair few pieces of ash. Right, with the ash, we can now go back across. There we go, we've got the bin now established. They're going to go and place the bars in there, potentially. There we go, this character's just going to place it in there. So now when we have a look, we've got a piece of ash in there, and the other ash that's been here, actually no, that's not been allocated to go in there. Is there more going in? I think we've only got the one. That's okay. for now, that'll do, just so we can get the principle of it done. And so now what we do is we're going to now go across and say, well, let's go to work orders now. So we'll add in a work order for the Ashery, and we just really the most important one is to make this lye for the soap. So we're just going to make lye, and we're going to make it so that we end up with, say, 3 of these done. And so we're just going to go across, and I'll just go back into to their work orders, and we'll just go and give them the parameters of what we actually require. If the amount of lye is less than 10, now I'll just place that one in there now and just make it say less than 3. So it will then just go through and make that. If the amount of ash is greater than 3, so I'll add that one in as well. So we need that one, so greater than 3. And also if the amount of empty buckets is greater than 3. That way it's nice and safe. Now it's going to take a little while to get those different bits and pieces. You can see there when I went down there, it actually had the, it actually was saying that the ash, we don't have enough ash done yet, but the other 2 are ready to go. So we don't have enough lye. Our ash is not greater than 3, so we can't actually make use of it. And so in this case, satisfied. So 2 of them are satisfied, but 1 of them isn't. So we'll just go back and wait. Sorry guys, I've actually had this on pause. I've been rattling away. I don't know what I've had on pause and what I haven't had on pause, and now I'm a bit concerned. I think I've done most of what I needed to do. Anyway, we had a strange mood. I think I might have, I hope I haven't screwed up too much of it. Anyway, just notice that I've been talking a lot about what strange moods actually are. This particular person, this is Law Zaskanith, is now working secretly. So there's different types of Fey moods. And so you can see through here that we have Law Zaskanith, the miner, withdraws from society, then goes and claims any one of the workshops, any one of them at all, and then begins on a mysterious construction. Now the mysterious construction is going to be an artifact, and depending on the type of mood will actually then dictate what, like whether she could become an exceptional, and I can't remember exactly which moods give you what, but I think that she could end up becoming, she's a proficient miner through here, but she's probably going to be like a master stoneworker after this. So she's working secretly though, so she hasn't been taken over. It's not like a possession, like there's different sorts of possessions and things, but she's been inspired secretly though. So you actually got inspirations that are open, where they will actually say what they need, and there's also inspirations like this one, which is secretive, but it's not a possession, and that's, I think, that's the key here. So we'll watch what actually happens towards the end of this episode. So law is just going to continue on. We'll get another beep at the end here, or another pause. I'll leave that there so we can sort of see what does go on. Make lie has been completed. Make wooden buckets has been completed now, which is good. Get rid of that one, get rid of that one, and get rid of that one. Okay, so we'll just leave the strange mood there. Down here we go. I don't think anyone's actually started to work in here just yet. Just wait until we get someone. Right, actually our soap is not kicking in. If we have a look and see, it's saying that the amount of bars available is less than 5. Now, I thought it would know that it's bars of soap, which we've got 0. So that's actually not working. I think if we've got fatty globs, we'll use that as the trigger. So let's go and get rid of that one there. So this is now satisfied for the next check, and it checks every day. So unrotten tallow, fatty globs, if it's greater than 5, keep on going. So that's actually going to be okay. That way we could end up with a fair bit of soap, but so be it. I can then just get rid of that if we needed to. Anyway, let's just go and let it go forward. Someone should now come in and work on it. There we are. So we've now have a bit of a look. We've now got the lye barrel is actually in here, and so that's actually now been put ready for working. And someone will now just go and get the tallow. This is why we do want to ultimately have the tallow here. And so we've got yak tallow. We've got 9 of these yak tallows in through this side, and we're just now going to be sort of making the soap. So he'll then start working, and eventually he'll make some soap. It does take a bit of time. There we go. So he's now made he's used 3 of the tallows to make 3 soap. So he's now got the 3 soap. The soap now need to be stored somewhere. They'll be stored, should be in the hospital. I think what we'll do is wait until someone comes and grabs those. He's making more soap. There we go. Someone's actually gone and grabbed them. You're hauling yak soap. Let's have a bit of a follow of him. Now he may take it to a catch-all area, and then it'll be taken to the hospital. Let's have a bit of a look. No, he's going straight to the hospital. Okay, so now when we have a bit of a look at this, we can actually now kind of have a look and see what's been placed in there. And we will then find that at the very, very bottom here, we've now got yak soap. And so just to sort of try to round this off a little bit with what we've been doing to this point in time, if I just go back across into my zone and then have a bit of a look, we can now see that we have, under soap, we've got 3 of the 5 that were required. The one thing we no longer have at the moment is the powder for casts. So let's finish off this episode with that. We've got all the building blocks now. Well, not all the building blocks. We've got one more thing we have to add in, and so we'll do that one right away. So I'm just going to right click. We're going to go back down to that layer again, F3, and then down 2 layers. So let's now go and make a kiln, and I'll make a kiln over here. So we just go across, and so this is actually a different type of furnace. So we've got our wood burner furnace. I'll just make another furnace over this side. So we'll just go across to, it's a bit all over the place, isn't it? This is quite complex. I'm so glad we had gypsum. You can use like alabaster. There's a few of them like that. God, what are they? Gypsum and alabaster are probably the most common. Anyway, it's things like gypsum, powdery type stuff. It's funny, usually, and I don't know, like, because I used to collect rocks and things like that, and I know that we had a lot of gypsum around where I grew up, and we also had a lot of mica, and I don't know if they're related, in any sort of sense. Anyway, let's just keep on going. We've got we go back to the furnaces again, and so we don't have magma, so we have to go just down to a kiln. So we just go and grab the kiln. So bake clay objects here, as well as a few other useful materials. Clay can also be collected here if you have a clay collection zone. All tasks require fuel aside from clay collection. So the clay collection we can do if we had clay. I'm not going to worry about showing clay at this point in time, but what we do need is fuel. Okay, so that's the key. This is what we spoke about before, and so we're just going to go across into the kiln. I'm going to add the kiln in here, and so it looks very similar. Just make that one out of granite as well. That'll be fine. And so in this case, that's then just going to come through. They're going to build this. Just go through these. What have we got? Wooden crutches are now finished. It's very important to be on top of. Oh, I've got rid of the special stuff anyway. It'll come back up again. Here we go. So the miner has created Nekik Zatum, a gypsum quern. She offers it to the stable rack. So the stable rack is our government. So that's actually our group, and that's now been offered to us. We'll make something of that, because that becomes an important aspect of who we are. Like what we had a look at the histories, and we had the Leopard of Hustling, the legendary axe, which has been claimed by all these different creatures. This one won't have anywhere near the same number of people interested in it, but it's still a point of interest, and so we can display it. In fact, I better do that next turn, because I've just realised the axe is currently living with the broker. You've probably sort of forgotten the story already, but the broker went out and claimed the axe and claimed it for herself. So she's actually carrying this special legendary axe around that everybody in the world wants, including one of the demigods. And so we're going to have to take it away from her and put it somewhere central and safe. I'm still going to keep it out in the open, because it will be fun to actually have people try to steal it eventually. So let's just we'll do something with it next episode, I think. We do have to do metal as well at some point, so I'll probably try to do all that in one go. Anyway, Law Zaskanith, the miner, has created. So we're just going to click on OK. We'll just quickly pause, have a bit of a look to see what's actually happening through here. And so the artifact is in here. So this is it. Nexalatum. Now this is actually just a mighty quern. Now it can be used, but in reality, if we just leave it, it's just going to be placed into the furniture stockpile. We need to display this thing. It's going to be awesome. If we have a look at it, it's worth around about 2,000. Now that's a lot. That's actually even more than the axe. So this is a gypsum quern. All craftsdwarfship is of the highest quality. It is encrusted with cushion tetrahedrite capuchons. This object menaces with spikes of gypsum. On the item is an image of Strodno Practice Wicked, the elf, and a soldier of Della in gypsum. The soldier of Della is striking down Strodno Practice Wicked. The artwork relates to the killing of the elf Strodno Practice Wicked by the soldier Della the Echo Snake in the plain forest in the mid-spring of 239 during Rashgar Togol, the attack of storms. So this will be some attack that happened well before Paint Daubs was settled, Paint Daubs being our location. And so this is actually just one of the histories of the world. There'll be a legend about this in the histories. We won't go through the legends and see what that one's about, but that's just a depiction of that particular event, nothing to do with us, unfortunately. It would be cool if it was something about the siege that we actually sort of survived, but we don't actually have that one through there. Anyway, that's in there. That will then be placed ultimately into this furniture stockpile, which will be down in here because it's a piece of furniture. But we can't just leave it there. It's too valuable for that. By the way, just to recap about our broker, if we go across to the nobles and have a look at where the broker actually is, not the broker, the bookkeeper. I keep on getting broker and bookkeeper confused. Anyway, let's just go across to Elath. So Elath is just to round out that story, just in case you've forgotten. So Elath is the bookkeeper down through here. So she's socializing. Now, one thing you'll notice is that she does not carry it openly. So it's a concealed item. But there it is, Minkil Vostaz, in her left hand. It is actually in her left hand, but not openly displayed. And so so that is the actual, that's the other one. Actually, that's worth 5,000. Yeah, okay, no wonder everyone wants it. That's really, really cool. But so this is a copper battle axe. Now, she will start to become attached to this thing, and then she will not let go. She'll become obsessed with it. So we have to get it off her before that happens, or we can just let her have it and then try to take it off her. And just she'll spiral into some sort of terrible sort of mood at that point if we did that. So I don't want to do that. I want to get it off her now while she's willing. It's like Bilbo and Frodo, with the ring of power, or the ring, Sauron's ring. They don't want to give it up. They become obsessed with it. And same with these artifacts. The artifacts, if someone possesses them for long enough, it will sort of possess them as well. And so we have to be careful. She really wants this particular artifact for herself. And that's not what we wanted to do. I'm glad that it's inside the fortress, but it's sort of a bit of a double-edged sword, because we already had the one thief come and try to catch it, but we were lucky to go and grab it and bring it inside. Right, anyway, that's going to cause all sorts of strife for us, I'm sure, down the track. There'll be other stories that will come in. There'll be armies come to try to get it from us. it's going to be a lot of fun with what does go on here. Anyway, we'll get that away from her fairly soon, I think. So we'll maybe do that in the next episode. Anyway, to finish off, we need to get gypsum plaster. So we just go back down and just building this one in through here. Just let them build this this kiln. And nearly done, nearly done. There we are. Now, one thing you'll notice with all these furnaces, the one thing they have in common is that this little area through here is always got where the furnace is. That's the most solid part of this workshop. Just keep that in mind for next episode, or the episode that we do the magma forges, because the magma forges also operate from this area, and this is the only safe area to build over magma. You can still build anywhere over it, like your dwarves won't fall through, and it will still work, but that is the security area. Anyway, that's a bit of a precursor. I shouldn't even bother mentioning that one because we'll be going through that one in detail anyway. So this one in here now, we now need to make gypsum plaster. So if we go back into here and go to add new task, you can see that we've got all sorts of different things. So we can make instrument pieces, can collect clay, so we can glaze different clay objects, we can make clay bricks, crafts, we can make pearl ash or plaster powder in through here. But it requires fuel. Okay, so fuel is not wood, remember that. Fuel is not wood. Fuel in this instance, because we've got a wood burner, is not ash. It's actually going to be another one. We need to go and add another into here, which is charcoal. So we're just going to throw 5 charcoal in here. She might keep it as 10 actually. And we'll just go back across. And so make 10 if the amount of refined coal is less than 10. And if the logs are also greater than 10. So as long as we've got the wood and we don't have a backlog of coal, then start to create this one. And this refined coal, charcoal, essentially is in that area. Coal and charcoal are refined coals, and there's different ways of making them, by the way. If you got wood, this is the easiest way to sort of get the fuel for your smelters. You do need the charcoal. So anyway, that's done. That will then sort of join the list. So it's making ash at the moment. That will then change across fairly soon. It's got a bit of weirdness in here. Like it says it's ready to go, but it's not wanting to do it. And when we have a look at it, everything is satisfied. I'm not sure what's going on here. I'm just going to manually add in a group to then just go and get that one done. So I'll just go into work orders and just add in a manual group of charcoal. So I'll just go and do that one. And if we now just go back to tasks, it should just come up in the list. It's still not coming up in the list. In that case, I'll just make charcoal. There we go. We'll just do it this way. We'll need a fair bit of this ultimately. Now we need a lot of wood, so I'm just going to go back up the top again and just get them to chop down. Now I don't want trees near our area, so I'm just going to, like, the trees grow here very, very quickly. Let's just go and just keep them away from the zone. And we need to get more wood. Like, we're out of wood up through here already. That'll do. Just selectively cull back a little bit more. So we're now making charcoal. There we go. I've got a piece of charcoal down through there, and really all we're now going to be doing is we should be getting the tasks in our work orders. So we'll just go and add in a work order through here to make plaster powder. And so I'll make 10 plaster powder for now, and that will do. I'll just make it as a one-off in this instance. So that'll then sort of start. If you look at the tasks, it will then kick in fairly soon. And so they've got the fuel source now. Well, it's fairly soon anyway. Oh, they don't want to do it, do they? Just do that one now. Just do one of them so you can see it. We can then finish this episode. I'll do 2. Yep, so we've got a piece of gypsum, and they've got a bag. So they need to have a free bag. they need to have a piece of gypsum, and then they need a piece of charcoal, which is the fuel. So we've got the fuel source back into here. They then create this one. Oh, here we go. Geez, we're already into summer. All right, so we'll see what actually happens through here. So they're cooking this up. There we go. So we've got gypsum plaster bag. So we've got a gypsum plaster bag in through here. I'll just unpause. I'll go to the next one. And that's, no one's come to pick it up just yet. Well, here we go. We've got an alert coming up. So always keep an eye on this stuff over through here. We've got a snatcher. So there's been 4 instances. Now, this is why we have dogs. I'll deal with this in the next episode because this will be a bit of fun. Yeah, this will be fun actually. So I think you'll enjoy the next episode. It's going to be, this is something that you can get your teeth into. We'll have a quick look now before we sort of get into it. Anyway, the plaster bags are being built or being created. They will get there, so we can sort of at least have some plaster now into the hospital. I won't wait for it to go into the hospital zone, but you get the idea. That was the last thing required. Everything else is now satisfied, and the hospital now is fully functional, except for the traction benches, and we do need to do that one potentially in the next episode. That's actually really also very, very important. We get the metal chain for that one. Anyway, let's have a look and see where this one actually was allocated. This one's outside. Usually it's inside that they get triggered. So we've got some snatches. These will usually be cobalts. Okay, well maybe this won't be such a big deal. If we have a bit of a look to see where they actually are. Usually if they're seen outside, it's either too late, but I don't think it would be too late in this instance. But just go across to others. So we've got all these dancers and poets. God, there's so many people visiting us. Here we go. Yeah, we've got 4 of them, goblin thieves. So we've got 4 goblin thieves. Oh, here they come. Great, they're coming into the fortress. So this is good stuff. Now, they got spotted at a distance, and that's unusual. They normally can sneak in a lot closer than this. Now, one of them's missing. There it is, back over here. And so if you have a look at their items, I always just like to see unarmed. They do have their swag bag. So they're here to steal children. That's really what they're here for. Now, that's a dwarven child right there. That's a potential problem. That's a potential problem. What do we know about this one here? Relations, leather worker, and the chief medical dwarf is the mother. Oh no, that's not good. I should actually nickname some of these dwarves now. We're going to start to sort of get some interaction. We've sort of done a lot of the big stuff, and now we can start to sort of get a bit attached to some of these, I think. Yeah, again, no actual weaponry. Anyway, we'll leave it here because that will be some fun. So hopefully they may be coming into the fortress. They may be coming to steal stuff as well, other sorts of things. It doesn't always mean that they're going to be stealing children. But we'll deal with them next or tomorrow, tomorrow's session. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you then.